A few days ago, when this controversy on eggs started, I put up a post on social media. Eggs, one of the most powerful foods if you're non-vegetarian, a complete protein. What's happening in India right now in the space of adulteration?
Fundamental thing we are talking about is the antibiotic abuse, and this is pretty prominent in any poultry industry, or it could be milk or anywhere.
What are the government regulations for y'all in terms of how often do y'all test? How often does FSSAI check?
I think this is the wake-up call. Every farmer understands what is a feed. Most times what happens in the large scale, today in India we produce about 40 crore eggs in a given day.
White eggs, brown eggs, caramelized eggs, etc. Could you please explain?
Brown rice, brown bread, brown sugar. Maybe it makes sense over there, but definitely not with brown eggs or white eggs.
And can you talk about the fertile egg?
So every bird ovulates, like how humans go through, the females go through a cycle. Similarly, the birds go through a cycle, so which means that she lays an egg even without an interaction with a rooster. Why should an egg be priced cheap? I can remember, or rather you can just ask yourself, what is the price that you bought an egg about 10 years back? 3 rupees, 4 rupees? 4 rupees max. And what's the price today? It's 5 rupees. Somebody has to absorb this cost, and it's who? It's me.
Are you being paid to be on this show?
Definitely not.
Welcome to the Honest Food and Lifestyle Show, a part of our Wellness Reset podcast. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the amazing stuff and the experts that we bring on our show. Why do we do this particular show? We're living in a country right now where our air is toxic. We don't know if we're spending money on the right food, on honest food, and we have problems with our water chain. All the three ingredients that you and I need for great health, for recovery, for prevention. Okay? There's adulteration in our food market. Who do we believe? Do we believe influencers? Do we believe the media? Who do we trust anymore? People can be paid to give you a good review. People can be paid to say great things about your company. People can even be paid to pull down a brand that is doing great work. That's all that's happening in India right now. So we've changed that. We bring the founder to you directly. The founder sits with us, pledges in front of you, answers all the questions that I want to be convinced on, and then we'll answer questions that you have. Eggs, one of the most powerful foods if you're non-vegetarian, a complete protein. You have doctors across the world prescribing eggs to patients today who require protein, who require the vitamins and minerals that this complete food gives us. If you're vegetarian or vegan, don't feel stressed out. You don't have to have eggs. If it's against your beliefs and your religion, you don't have to. There are other protein sources. For everyone who loves their eggs, there's a lot of fear in our country right now because someone found some adulteration, some amount of apparently cancer-causing ingredients in eggs. It's all over the media. People are scared. We're reacting to negativity. There are doctors from across the world writing in that this is normal. There will always be some permissible amount of toxins in any product. But the point is, it is social media. People are living in fear. People are confused because they don't have the right information. They don't have honest information. In our country, in India, if you want to become famous in 24 hours, here's the plan. All you do is find someone to pull down, find someone to build a story around, get following of a very shallow audience, and there you go. You become famous, but you don't change or you don't bring value to the system that requires change. Today we have Mr. Manju with us. Absolute pleasure to have you on the show. I've consumed your products for years and years, but thank you for flying down from Bangalore to come across. A few days ago, when this controversy on eggs started, I put up a post on social media inviting all honest founders who can vouch for their quality of eggs to come from wherever they are and be on my show and speak to you and me. And I think within 5 minutes of putting up the post, the founder directly said, "Hey, Luke, I want to be on that show. I have an honest product. I want to talk to you. I want to talk to your audience." And he flew down from Bangalore, and here he is. Thank you so much. I know you have a busy schedule, but thank you. Happy Hens.
Thank you, Luke. Thank you for this great opportunity. It's my pleasure. It's always a pleasure to share what we do. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We've consumed your products. A lot of my clients in Goa, I know you've reached Goa, Bangalore, etc. A lot of our clients are on Happy Hens, and for the right reason. You've always been honest about your work, your intentions. I remember reaching out to you one day asking you what is in your feed of your chickens, and you listed out all the ingredients. I even asked you about flaxseed, soy, etc. And you still came back and told me about your quality checks and how you're ensuring it's the best. So I appreciate that honesty. What's happening in India right now in the space of adulteration, eggs. What's going on? Educate us on your experience and why you got into building this company, Happy Hens.
So let's start with this saying that, egg, like you already mentioned, is an important protein, but I would say it's a 50 grams of magic. No other food right now in the world which can have that composition of essential nutrition, vitamins, minerals, micronutrients in just packed in 50 grams, and it's fresh, right? So I think in that way, egg is got a very, very important role in our food system. When we say that, it's very important to do the right eggs. So that's what we have focused on. And as the brand says, Happy Hens. So the primary focus will be the hen because that's what it's producing, right? It's like how at the kitchen, the mother is the most important because she's the one who's cooking. Likewise in egg, which is primarily the chicken. So it's very important to take care of her to have the best quality eggs. So that's what Happy Hen stands for. So when we talk about what's happening currently in India, it's very...
Manju, I want to pause you for a minute because if you're okay, I would love for you to take this pledge.
Okay.
All right. I would love you to read this out to the audience.
I'll be happy to. Today, I pledge to every viewer that every single claim I make about my product, my brand is 100% true. And my name is Manjunath. I'm the founder of Happy Hens.
Thank you.
So the whole reason why we are here, I think it's very important and to clear a lot of misconceptions, the fear because what's happening right now. And what has happened is very unfortunate. I completely agree as a pure businessman. I think it shouldn't have happened. But let's go to the root cause instead of just picking up the situation and being reactive to it. Let's not be very reactive to it. The fundamental thing we are talking about is the antibiotic abuse, right? And this is pretty prominent in any poultry industry, or it could be milk or anywhere. So today, particularly to the egg industry, it is kind of widely used in the broiler industry because antibiotic induces weight, and for a chicken to put on weight at a shorter span of time, it's kind of used. And in the layer industry, which we are talking about, which layer means primarily it's a birds which is specifically reared to lay eggs, and broiler are specifically reared to for meat. So here let's understand the clear difference. So we are today talking about the layer birds. When do we call it's an antibiotic abuse? The word abuse, it means that it is used for no reasons, right? Or for, like I would say, when it's used without really the need to be used for. So there is something called as therapeutic antibiotic and non-therapeutic antibiotic. And therapeutic antibiotic, yes, as humans, we also go to hospital and see the right doctor, and where it's under prescription, it's good. But why do we use a non-therapeutic antibiotic is for a preventive measure. So preventive antibiotic is something that we got to go out, and for which it is the FSAI. They shouldn't be coming up right now and doing all the checks, which they should have ideally done this.
Yeah.
Over anybody who, like, if they should have come to me and told, oh, you're starting a farm, but what are the quality checks you're doing? Yeah. That is an approach that we need from the government, from the FSAI, whoever the concerned or the certification agency is. I think this situation should really, the good thing that has happened is that the government has woken up. Yeah. And I think it's every responsibility, like me, for every small farmer to use antibiotic legitimately and only under therapeutic use. So I think that's the crux of this meeting or what we're going to speak today.
So when you say therapeutic, now I understand, we want to be fair. Human beings in our country will buy over-the-counter, which it should not be, antibiotics, and self-prescribe and take it. But the point is, when someone puts a post about antibiotics, there will be usage. Does it happen in your farm, and for what reasons? When do you use a therapeutic antibiotic?
Super. Nice question. I think you have spoken so much about holistic health, right? Like, I've heard so much of your talks about listen to your grandparents, listen to them, what is your body got used into so that you're less dependent on medicine. So when we say therapeutic antibiotic, doesn't mean that you can just use it and getting very comfortable with the word therapeutic, right? Let's not get there. Let's get to the point. Let's keep the bird healthy. Mm-hmm. That's why I said the health of the bird is very important in rearing the whole farm. Why is an antibiotic used? when the bird is sick. Why does the bird get sick? When she is under stress, right? When her immune systems are low, she gets sick. When does an immune system get low? Is one of the primary reason is stress. Like today in humans, we go through so much of problems and finally they come up, so you got to sleep well and your problem is solved.
This intelligent farmer is teaching us what most human beings need to know. If stress can deplete the immune system of a bird and the bird falls sick, that's why we keep trying to tell everyone that chronic stress is the #1 driver of most of the diseases that you have out there. Thank you for bringing that.
No, thanks to you, Luke, because we've taken some of your advices for human beings that we just implement it on birds. It's a simple living creature, right? So that's the reason we keep stressing on why is it important to do free range farm? Why is it important to do cage free farm? Why is it important to keep the birds happy? When the birds are happy, they go through less stress. When the less stress, obviously, like you said, the immune systems are high, the need for antibiotic is not there. I think that's the crux of this whole farming system that we want to bring in a change. And this is not a rocket science. I don't say Happy Hens is a rocket science. We're just doing what our forefathers did, right? Like when I was young, my grandparents had chickens at home and they were all just free range. We never called it free range. It was just there. Those were simple chickens. They were just moving around everywhere. We're getting quality eggs. But I think as and when the consumption increased and our farming method got a little more aggressive and illogical, so that's when you started confining the birds for monetary benefits.
Right.
As you get the monetary benefit, you have lost the quality.
But confining the birds will also breed to more diseases.
Exactly. So that's a stress. So see, the birds have got wings, so which means they should be flying. They should be flying, getting exposed to sun. And setting up a free range farm is far more cheaper than actually setting up a commercial farm. The people don't understand that. Though it's very expensive, birds produce less eggs, that's fine. But consumers value the quality product. And when she's in a free range, what happens, right? She gets exposed to sunlight. So which means her requirement for vitamins and all of them is taken care. And then she gets access to a natural diet, which is primarily the bugs, the greens and the grains. Like I call the 3 greens, So if you give a choice to a hen between a grub and a green, she'll pick up the grub first. Between a green and a grain, she'll pick up the grain first and then the greens. So all this is possible only in a natural free range environment. And through this, then she takes care of her health and then she transfers all that nutrition to an egg. Now let's understand what is this egg, right? An egg is as simple as the bird is giving an offspring, right? So she would do the best for an egg, like how humans do the best when the baby is born. That's exactly what she will take the best nutrition, put it in an egg. She will go to a cozy place and lay the egg in a very safe manner, and she'll take care of it. So which means everything is taken care if you just take care of the bird. You don't have to do anything else. So that's what we do at Happy Hens, where
it's amazing. So has there been an instant where you'll have to use antibiotics sometimes?
Yes, we did. We did use under prescription, and definitely these are well under prescribed medicine. So of course, antibiotic is such a broad and a wide variety that's available in the market. And right now, I don't think any doctor is going to prescribe which is a banned antibiotic, like any good doctor. So having a good veterinarian who's aligned with your thought process, with your ethos is very important. And that's what we do. We have very good doctors who are, aligned and prescribing us. Not only in India, we do get help from the other countries where, more free range and cage free is more evolved. So we do get support from them.
No, I love your honesty because it is necessary when it's necessary. Does that antibiotic fed chicken affect the final product?
Yes, it does. It definitely does because she is going to transfer that at one point to an egg. So we do try to avoid putting those eggs to the shelf, and we do have a withdrawal time, and we try to sell it in the local market. Of course, we are not in the liberty to discard those eggs, so our pockets are not that deep, but we definitely don't put it on the shelf for the consumers market.
So now Happy Hens
labeled market.
Understood. Do you all have antibiotic-free eggs as part of your sales pitch for your eggs?
Yes.
So those eggs will never appear in this?
Yeah. To keep my fingers crossed, I'm very honest to say that we have never used antibiotics in a free-range farm in the last 3-4 years.
That's amazing.
Because we follow ethno-medicine, like my co-founder Ashok Kannan. is an ethno medicine practicer. I mean, like he's studied a lot of knowledge on it, and the veterinarian that right now we have in our team is being undertrained under this medicine practice, and we've used in the past even alternate medicines like lot of what do you call Ayurvedic medicines. Yeah. So there is this one doctor called by Mr. Punyamurthy in Tamil Nadu in Tanjavur district. So he's done a wonderful document about handling animals through ethno medicines and Ayurvedic medicine. So we try to do it on a preventive measure. See, it doesn't work when you problem arises. Then obviously we also end up using antibiotic. But let's say when there is an offset of summer, then the offset of winter, there are certain very simple medicines to use, like as simple as buttermilk to be used in the summer, and like using greens like curry leaves and things like that, like tulsi. These are like exactly what we use for our Ayurvedic medicine is exactly used for the birds, but in a different ratio, in a different way, like how we use it. And so we use it, and it's proven the best. And the whole point that our flocks in free range farm is not more than 500 birds. So that's a very, very important line, because any animal husbandry, it could be milk, it could be meat, it could be eggs, it could be chicken, poultry, whatever. The smaller the flock, better the management, lesser the risk of biosecurity. So which means the dependency on any medicine will reduce. Yeah, so that's why we work with small livelihood programs for farmers, where the batch size or the flock size of every farm is between 300 to 500 birds, and they are enjoying a space of about half an acre to 1 acre. So you will never really, like, you'll never feel that you're actually entering a poultry farm, and it works a win-win situation because the farmers make good economic livelihood with that, and the birds are happy. So,
and what's the yield you get from each of these farms? Like a normal farm of 200 to 300 chickens?
Yes. So this all comes to economics, right? So the moment why the whole birds are put in a cage for them to produce more eggs, and because they're burning less energy. So when you're letting them out, they're burning more energy, which means they produce less. So they produce about, it's actually in terms of percentage, for every 100 birds, you get about 60 to 65 eggs. In a free range farm. But whereas in a commercial layer, for every 100 eggs, you get about 90 eggs. Yeah. I actually invite you once, whenever you're free. I would be happy to take you to this livelihood program that we done. We work around farmers close to Bangalore. It's a nice experience for you. We invited a lot of my clients to come and experience, because most times when we talk about this, it's a little difficult for them to understand. But once they come, I think it's a lot more simpler and easier for them to understand.
I'll be happy to do that. Yes. So if all your batch tests on your eggs will be antibiotic free, for the ones that you're selling antibiotic free, basically.
Yes.
If consumers requested you, like, hey, we would like to see a batch test of a particular eggs, would your company be open sharing that?
Yes, we do that right now. See, the only thing is it's a bit expensive, the antibiotic test, because we've been working on with few companies. We've been requesting few companies like Eurofins, things like that. Can we have like kind of a very simple litmus test kind of a thing for an egg?
Yeah.
Like they'd have it for milk. Like every batch of milk that comes in, you just take a strip, put it in, and then it'll tell you if there's an antibiotic free or not. So I would really love if anybody who's listening to this have access to this, please reach out to us. We'd be happy, because technically it's very difficult for us to test few thousand eggs, right? But it's easier to test, let's say there is one batch. Can we test like one random egg? It's possible. But taking one batch, every egg from a batch, and actually spending close to about 40,000 rupees, it's not viable for us. What we do right now, we test the feed. So because primarily where the antibiotics are coming from is from the feed, or it could be sometimes with the water. But water is very rare cases, but I think definitely feed is the first place that where antibiotic.
And what goes into the feed of your eggs?
So primarily it is grain feed. So it's mainly maize, then it is jowar, then it is groundnut cake. Then there is flax seeds, that cake that we use for make it omega-3 enriched, and we also have this folate enriched. So we work with a Japanese company, which they have a patented completely a plant-based folate enrichment feed. So we do that, and of course it goes with a lot of supplements. Try to do 98% these are organic supplements, like grain based and things like that. So 2% even we are not sure, because these are not what we produce, but it's available in the market. So we try to choose the more herbal-based supplements, which is important. And then as it is free range, then we give a lot of greens from organic matter. So that's anyway, it's just what's sourced in the...
Do you and your family eat your own eggs?
Yes, my daughters have these eggs.
How old is your daughter?
My elder one is 15, the younger one is 13.
So you feed them these eggs?
I always say that I deliver what we consume at home.
Amazing. Yeah, that's very important for us on the show as well, because you have a lot of founders who don't consume their own products.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, thank you for that. So I wanted to ask you, so basically, I mean, I know how it works in nutraceuticals food. So what are the government regulations for y'all in terms of how often do y'all test? How often does FSSAI check? Or each time you'll have a batch of eggs that go out, do y'all have to do a test? Can you explain it to us for our understanding?
There's nothing like that.
Sadly, there's nothing that. I think this is the wake-up call. I think it's important that every farmer understands what is the feed. You know, most times what happens in the large scale, say today in India, we produce about 40 crore eggs in a given day. And we are the second largest egg producing country in the world. And can you imagine we don't have
Regulations around that.
okay? But you know what? First thing what I'm trying to say is, why should an egg be priced cheap? You know, I think it's a very important question that everybody should ask themselves.
Yeah.
Because when we go out in the market, they say that, or the government says, oh, it's a commodity, we need to feed the poor people, so it cannot be priced more than 5 rupees to 6 rupees. But it doesn't work that way, because if you take the cost of an egg, 80% of the cost is a feed. And what is feed is a maize and whatever the grains I said. I can remember, or rather you can just ask yourself, what is the price that you bought an egg about 10 years back? 3 rupees,
Yeah,
4 rupees?
$3, yeah.
4 rupees max. And what's the price today? It's 5 rupees or maximum 6 rupees in the market, right? What's the appreciation is only 2 rupees, but what's the appreciation that's happened across because of inflation, our transport cost? Let's say the grains, okay, as a farmer, I bought maize at about 17 to 18 rupees 10 years, 12 years back. Today, it's almost 30 rupees and sometimes it's gone to 40 rupees. And likewise, I can put everything and my cost has increased exponentially high. Salaries, logistics cost. But how is an egg being priced pretty much without much cost difference? I think everybody has to ask this question. It's very simple. Somebody is absorbing this cost. Somebody has to absorb this cost. And it's who? It's we. It's we who are absorbing the cost by the quality that we compromise on. If the farmers are given, like let's say if the government is fixing an MSP, let's say the cost, generic cost, right? This is the cost that is required to produce an egg. And let's fix it and give it to a regular farmer. I'm not even talking about free range or cage free or battery caged, anything. I'm talking about any poultry farmer who's producing an egg should be given a fair price, because most times these conventional farmers are working in a razor thin margin. So which means sometimes some farmers do cut corners to make it viable.
I understand.
So that's where these problems are coming. It is not the brand. It's not anybody to be blamed. We are to be blamed over here, that we should now go out and the government should wake up and say that let's do something, let's fix the minimum, because the whole point, the government is doing a fantastic job about giving these eggs to kids in the school is to get the primary nutrition. And if that nutrition is not being right, the whole essence is lost. So let's everybody work towards getting fair price for these conventional farmers, so that the basic eggs, what we get in the market, are all minimum health standards. And then yes, we can choose other brands which we're talking about, extra nutrition or free range, cage free, value additions and all of that. Yes, we do take that.
Absolutely. No, I think you make a very important point, and that's one idea. That's one reason we're doing this show, because we want to make sure that things like eggs or whatever your basic foods are for your kids, for your loved ones, are honest, so that when you spend that hard-earned money of yours, you're at least getting your quality and the value of what you pay for. Now, I wanted to ask you about colored eggs, white eggs, brown eggs, caramel eggs, etc. Could you please explain that so our audience understands in which direction to move when it comes to their purchase?
So brown eggs and white eggs, frankly, there's no difference between both. And brown eggs are perceived organic better. That's only because we have kind of taken it from brown rice, brown bread, brown sugar, and brown eggs. Maybe it makes sense over there, but definitely not in brown eggs or white eggs. It's just the breed which actually defines the shell of the shell color. And calcium is primarily white. So even in a brown shell, the foundation is brown shell.
Okay.
And there's a pigmentation that happens towards the end of her laying process. So that's when the brown shell comes. So nutritionally, brown eggs, white eggs has no difference. It's the way of the farming that defines the quality of the egg. So that's what it is. And now I've been hearing, and in the past we have heard from customers, from chefs saying that, the brown shell eggs are actually giving away the colors. The colors are getting dissolved, right, as you cook. Let's understand these are pigments, natural pigments. So which means when you scrub hard, you got to lose the color. And in fact, the same hotel, the Taj Lands Hotel where we're sitting, uses Happy Hens eggs, cage-free eggs, not the free range. And we had instances where, they say that as they're boiling, actually the shell color or the color is oozing out. That's because they use vinegar for the pH control, and that's pH actually removes the color.
No, thanks for explaining that. That's a very important point for us as consumers to make our decision. So why should people buy Happy Hens eggs today?
See, primarily we focus on 3 ethos. The first one is the welfare, and I told you why welfare is important. The second is we focus on value-add nutrition like omega-3, because we believe that egg can actually carry more nutrition than what actually it can. It is naturally, because, and even omega-3 fortification is natural by just feeding them flax seeds. So that's one thing that we focus on, additional nutrition. And the third thing is we work with small farmers. I think your choice will definitely impact their livelihoods.
So where are you available right now?
So we are available in primarily in Bangalore, Mumbai, Hyderabad, Chennai, Bhopal.
And are you expanding through this model of, small farms?
Yes. So we are a 15-year-old brand. We are growing very organically. It's not an easy business, because setting up farms, kind of convincing the farmer, and then setting up the whole ecosystem, SOPs definitely takes a lot of time. At the same time, consumer awareness, because we can't just, it has to be balanced. My production and my consumption or the market demand has to be balanced. Yes, the last couple of years, post-COVID, I think people have woken up and said that, okay, quality nutrition is important, protein is important, and things like that. So the market is growing really well. And as a brand, we are also growing pretty well. So hopefully, we should.
So in your expansion and scale plan, how are you trying to ensure that you maintain this quality and, no one tests your eggs and finds something out that could possibly bring, chaos to your brand? How are you looking at that?
So we try to control the inputs. So that's very important. So what are the inputs? So first is the breed. So we try to pick and test before we select the breed. And then we do all the tests before she lands up at the farm. And then comes the feed. So we have dedicated suppliers. So we constantly in touch with them on a daily basis, like, what goes and what comes out. And is there a small alteration, because they also change based on the age of the birds, because older birds need more calcium, younger birds more protein for them to grow and things like that. So we control that. And of course, veterinary is from our own team. So we know what we are administering them. Veterinary doesn't mean always medicines, but even what I'm talking about, the Ayurvedic or ethno, like preventive, those things are also done by us. So additional, we also have certified by a global certification called Certified Humane, which focuses on the welfare of the bird.
Yeah.
What's the space to be given by a bird? How many water lines should be there? How much of feed should be given? What is the range area that should be, and all of that. So we focus on that and also educate the farmers to grow more organically in the range, because when she's in the range outside, the farmers cannot use abusive fertilizers on the ground, because she is exposed, the bird is exposed to the ground. So we have strict norms that the farmers should use only organic manures for their whatever vegetations they grow outside.
Okay.
So these are the inputs that we grow, and we have our farm level managers who visit these farms periodically, test them, address them, educate them. So like this. So we also have training facilities for them. So we've just building a training facility, which we'll show you when you come. So I think constant training, constant knowledge transfer is very important to keep the ethos intact as we keep growing.
Are you being paid to be on this show?
Definitely not.
Okay. And that's what we're going to do. No one pays to get on our show at all. And our founders will tell you that directly. The whole idea is there are many, many ways to make money in our country. We have an honest vision to change the food chain in India. And every founder who comes here will never pay us any money. And we're very careful about the founders that we also get. You'll be surprised to know that we've reached out to so many founders to be on our show. And a lot of them don't even reply or don't want to come on our show. And that's because they have something to hide. And so we will strive to get you founders who are doing the most ethical work. Like I always say, there can be mistakes that can happen, there can be problems, but I think when founders take responsibility for that, I think that's what, closes the whole deal. I also wanted to ask you, if people need to order these eggs, where are y'all available? Are y'all on Amazon and shops and...
Yeah, in Bangalore, we are right now available on the 3 quick commerce platforms, Zepto, Blinkit and Instamart. We just got launched there about a month back.
So protein in 10 minutes.
Protein in 10 minutes, very true, yeah. And happiness in 10 minutes. So we slowly want to come to other cities. As we expand more farmers, we will be happy to reach out. But otherwise, we are available in Bombay. We are available in the store called Farmers Store in Bandra, which has been a long-time partner for us for more than a decade. We are available in Nature's Basket, Organic World, and we are available in Goa, we are available in Saukyam Organic. In Chennai, we are available in Old Madras Baking Company. Then we are available in Dhanyam Organics for a very long time. In Bhopal, we are available. In Delhi, we are available in a fantastic store called Nature Soul in Defense Colony. So we're not like really big.
But you'll slowly
building up now because it needs a very organic approach, because I cannot just produce free-range eggs overnight and just flood them in the market. But yes, definitely we are growing, we are at a good pace. So I really invite every consumer to spend time to come and reach out to us and visit the farms, so what is happening there.
If our audience and consumers have questions, is your brand willing to answer them?
Definitely.
They can reach out to you.
Yeah, definitely. Our website has a contact form. You please reach out to us. Of course, we have bandwidth issues. We can't we're not a very big team. We're just about 25 to 30 people team. But definitely, you will definitely be answered. That's.
And are you currently looking at funding? Because I'm sure there'll be a lot of
yes,
investors on this show.
Yeah.
Are you all open to funding? Are you looking at funding currently to expand?
Yes, we were funded by I have a great set of angel investors.
Okay.
We were funded by a group called Native Angel Network, which is a Tamil Nadu-based funding company, which group of HNIs. But we haven't taken fund in the last 4 years. We just raised an angel fund. We're happy to explore because we want people who are aligned, because agri-business has to be looked very differently from a different lens, not as a tech lens, because we cannot grow exponentially.
Yes.
But definitely I would be happy to speak to people who are looking at impacting livelihood, nutrition, and of course welfare as well. So all three has to be aligned.
So what about the color of the yolk?
So the yolk color is primarily depends on the feed. Mm-hmm. So if she is feeding a lot of greens, it's the carotenoids that gets transferred to the yolk color. They're really good because it's an antioxidant, and so good for your skin and good for your eyes and everything. And in terms of the quality of the eggs, for you to do a simple test, I think when you break open an egg, you got to be clear that the yolk stands upright, covered, closely held by albumin, and then you have the water. So these are three things. When an egg becomes stale, the first thing is the albumin and the water gets mixed, so you will never find the albumin next close to it, and then the yolk also dissolves, and then you will have a watery. So these are stale eggs. These are not like rotten eggs. Yeah. So the difference between rotten egg and a stale egg, even a 2-day-old egg can go rotten when it gets exposed to water or it gets damaged and all of that. So people can do that, and yeah, of course, in the internet there's a simple solutions like water test can be done.
Can you explain a water test if it sinks?
If it sinks, means it's the most freshest egg. Like sinks and sleeping, it's the freshest. And then even if it's standing and sinking, it's perfect. Even midway is fine. The topmost, when it is floating, it means it's an old egg. It's not a rotten egg. Okay, old egg, it means like maybe because the air sac inside bulges, and so that's when she starts to float. When it's very fresh, the air sac inside is very small, so that's why she sinks.
What about a double yolk?
Oh yeah, double yolk eggs. I have not kind of decoded that, but it's just that towards the old age, in the ovary there are 2 yolks that get in before forming an egg. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's pretty large because generally when they're in old age, they lay large eggs, and sometimes you land up with 2 yolks in an egg.
And can you talk about the fertile egg?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. A lot of times consumers ask me, oh, do you inject? Because there are no roosters in my farm, right? There are no roosters. So like how does a hen lay an egg without a rooster? So every bird ovulates, like how in humans the females go through a cycle. Similarly, the birds go through a cycle, so which means that she lays an egg even without an interaction with an rooster. So that's when it becomes a table egg. And a lot of vegans have come forward and said that, okay, I'm happy to consume free range eggs because the birds are ethically raised, and also there's no life in it because these are table eggs. In the countryside, you always have roosters along with them. That's when you get a fertile egg. So that's the difference.
Thanks for explaining that. So don't be afraid of your protein. Eggs will continue to be one of your most powerful protein sources. If you're non-vegetarian and you eat eggs, subject to the quality of it, please reach out to our founder Manju, speak to him, ask his team questions. He will take some time to probably reply to them because he's out on field and not sitting behind a desk, using marketing money to deceive most of the public out there. I say these things because that's what's happening in our country right now. So whatever questions you have to him, he's open to batch tests when it's available. He's actually suggested that FSSAI comes up with stricter regulations for all farmers and all companies to regulate this one important food that many of us love, enjoy, give our kids, and even give patients and sick patients who require them. Manju, before we end, I have one more pledge that I would love for you to read out, please.
Happy to do that. I promise every viewer watching this in India and abroad and the world around that my brand, Happy Hens, will never compromise on quality and honesty.
Thank you
Be
so much.
happy to answer and be open about it at any time.
I truly appreciate this, Manju. Thank you so much. And if you have a problem at any given point, understanding, doubt, clarity, you don't ask influencers. You ask the founder directly. You don't get an answer from the founder. Be a little bit patient before you start spreading negativity or making up your own opinions. We are living in a very, very corrupt country. I'll say that over and over again. People think corruption is only amongst politicians and the government, but I'm sorry to say it's amongst everyday people right now who are influenced negatively the wrong way. If we want better food, we got to support the people doing the right work. And that's why we run this show, the Honest Food and Lifestyle Show, part of the Wellness Reset. Hit that subscribe button so you get educated and not influenced. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Luke.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it. I only ask the consumers to not react to anything, but be more conscious in choosing the right food. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.